Elena Rodriguez stood in her backyard in Austin, Texas, fuming as she took in the scene of her pool and deck. Once again, there had been an unauthorized pool party. Beer cans floated in the water, soaked towels were scattered everywhere, and cigarette butts littered her custom deck. How shameless were these people? At just 28 years old, she owned the most beautiful house in the area. Not because of inherited money or a wealthy husband, but through her own hard work. She had started at 19 as a cleaning worker, saving every penny to build her place, and now she owned 3 successful companies. People burned with jealousy when they saw her home. For the first time on a Friday, someone had broken the lock on her house. Elena had returned home early when she heard noise. In her pool, 5 young men were drinking, blasting music as if it were their own house. Her voice roared, and the boys panicked, scrambling to grab their phones and towels. One of them smirked and claimed the door had been open, when in reality they had broken her fence. The next day, she confronted their parents, but their responses shocked her. One mother, without even looking up, dismissed it as just kids having fun, while a father laughed and said, "It's just a pool." Her anger had no effect on them. Elena installed a new security system, cameras, and strict warning signs, but people still broke in. A week later, she found that it wasn't just kids anymore. Entire families were in her pool. Children splashed around while adults relaxed on her chairs, treating it like their personal resort. One woman shamelessly told Elena that her book club friend mentioned she didn't even use the pool, as if that justified their trespassing. It wasn't just about the pool anymore. It was about the lack of respect for her hard work, for the things she had built. These people believed she didn't belong here, that only those from the old families had the real right to this place. She had been patient until now, but not anymore. The neighborhood was changing, and every weekend brought a new invasion to Elena's home. More strangers, more trash, and even more audacity. Cigarette butts clogged her pool filter, beer cans were left in the bushes, and someone had even thrown up on her deck. Then, the Instagram photos surfaced. Strangers enjoying her pool, captioning it as Austin's best-kept secret, and boasting that entry was completely free. Her property had gone viral, and now people from far and wide came just to break into her home. Things got so bad that if she went out for even a short trip to the market, she would return to find intruders in her house. Finally, the last straw came when Elena discovered that someone was running a business charging people to party at her home. She found an Instagram post advertising luxury pool party every Saturday for just $25. Bring your own drinks. DM for the address. Shaking with rage, Elena called the police. They arrived, took notes, and then left after saying it was a civil matter and they couldn't do anything. Furious, Elena went straight to confront the party organizer, none other than her own neighbor, Jessica. Jessica shrugged, completely unbothered, and said people wanted luxury pool access, while Elena was being selfish by keeping it to herself. But for Elena, this wasn't just about a pool. It was the result of 20 years of hard work, the life she had built with her own hands. The following Saturday, Elena saw it with her own eyes. 47 people crowded into her backyard. Noise filled the air, children screamed, drunk adults laughed, and someone had even set up a barbecue on her deck. A complete stranger, lounging on her chair, smiled and told Elena she should join the party because it was amazing. In her own pool, the one she had built with her own money. She watched as a child threw up in the pool while his mother was too busy taking selfies. Nearby, people spilled alcohol all over her deck, and a dog peed on her expensive plants. That was it. These people thought they could take whatever they wanted, that they had the right to her space without permission. Fine. If that was the game, she was ready to play too. But Elena had a plan, one that would make sure these entitled people never came back. She decided to let them enjoy themselves, get comfortable, believe they had won. And then she would strike. Sitting at her kitchen table, she began strategizing. Late that night, as she reviewed security footage, her hands trembled with rage. These people weren't just entitled, they were shameless. They roamed her backyard like they owned it, laughing whenever she tried to stop them. But the joke was about to end. The rules of the game were about to change. First, she went to a pool supply store and gathered everything she needed. The store clerk, looking at her shopping list, jokingly asked if she was planning something big. Elena just smiled and said, "You could say that." Then she visited a sign shop and ordered large professional warning signs, not just to satisfy lawyers but to scare off trespassers. But the real trick, chemical D packets. Unnecessary but highly effective. This was the same chemical used in large hotels to catch people urinating in pools. It turned the water a bright, unmistakable purple when activated. That night, Elena set everything up. New locks, high-end cameras, motion sensors, and freshly installed warning boards. The signs read, "Pool chemically treated. Unauthorized use may have severe effects. Management is not responsible for any damages." For added effect, Elena placed a few empty chemical containers near the pool equipment. No one knew they were just for show. The next morning, Jessica, who lived 2 houses away, walked by with her dog. Watching from behind her window, Elena saw Jessica notice the new signs, pull out her phone, and start typing furiously. Within an hour, the entire neighborhood's Facebook group was on fire. People were panicking, accusing Elena of going crazy, saying she had dumped dangerous chemicals into her pool. Some wondered if what she did was even legal. Others demanded someone file a complaint. Elena laughed. Funny how no one cared when they were trespassing on her property. But the moment she defended what was hers, they were outraged. Now, the neighborhood's biggest event was coming up. Sarah's famous brunch party. Elena knew they would try to use her pool again. Sarah was the worst of them all, always acting as if the place belonged to her. Right on time, Sarah and her brunch group waltzed into Elena's backyard. 20 people, all dressed in expensive outfits, headed straight for the pool without hesitation. The D warning signs were right in front of them, but not one person bothered to read them. Sarah laughed loudly. "Oh, please, Elena's just trying to scare us. It's probably just chlorine." Watching through her security cameras, Elena smirked. The moment they all jumped in, she checked her watch. 3 minutes. Then she pressed a button. The hidden dye packets burst open. Within seconds, the water turned a deep, glowing purple. Screams erupted. People flailed, scrambling to get out, but it was too late. Sarah was the first to emerge. Her expensive white swimsuit was ruined, and her skin had taken on a faint purple hue. The rest weren't any better. They all looked like they'd been drenched in grape soda. Sarah shrieked, "What did you do?" Elena calmly stepped outside, a satisfied smile on her face. "Me? I put up clear warnings. You all just chose to ignore them." A man, staring at his stained hands in horror, yelled, "This has to be illegal." Elena picked up her phone and calmly said, "The real illegal thing here is this. You're all on camera. This is trespassing, breaking and entering, and property damage. Should I call the police?" Silence. She smirked playfully and added, "Don't worry, though. The color will fade in about a week. Maybe next time you'll actually read the signs." The neighborhood witnessed a bizarre sight. A group of purple-stained people running home in humiliation. Sarah tried covering herself with a towel, but the damage was done. Within hours, photos of the disastrous pool party flooded social media, but not in the way the guests had hoped. Elena's phone began ringing. Angry parents, embarrassed neighbors. Even Sarah's husband, fuming, he said, "All right, you proved your point. This is humiliating for them." Elena replied nonchalantly, "That was the goal." Then with a wicked grin she added, "Oh, and by the way, that dye, it sticks. It'll stain their car seats, furniture, beds. Wherever they go, they'll leave a trail of purple. Silence on the other end. Then a slow whistle. Damn, you're evil. Elena laughed. No, I just stopped being nice. But this was only the beginning. The purple dye? That was just a warning. One final surprise was still waiting. One that would teach them the ultimate lesson. Sarah stormed into Elena's yard days later, rage boiling in her eyes. This ink won't come off. My kids can't even go to school. Everyone is laughing at them. Elena lazily examined her nails before looking up. Oh yeah, that's military-grade ink, glows under sunlight. And unfortunately, it won't fade for a month. Sarah stepped closer, her face red with fury. You can't do this. This is illegal. Elena chuckled, tilting her head. Oh, but when your friends were throwing parties in my pool, when people used my house like a free resort, did you think about what was illegal then? Sarah tried to hold back, but then she screamed, You humiliated my kids. Elena's expression turned ice cold. She stepped forward and said, No, Sarah. Your kids humiliated themselves. This is just the result of their own actions. In the following weeks, Elena's reputation in the neighborhood completely changed. The same people who once treated her backyard like public property now wouldn't even dare walk past her house. Those who had once felt entitled to her space now avoided eye contact. Jessica was still struggling to get her car's interior fixed, and Sarah's kids. Their embarrassment at school hadn't faded. Their classmates still pointed and laughed, whispering about the infamous purple pool incident. But Elena, she was at peace. Not only had she reclaimed her property, but she had also set an example. You can't take what doesn't belong to you and expect no consequences. That night, sipping her tea, she gazed out at her now quiet, empty backyard. No uninvited guests, no noise, just her home, exactly the way it was meant to be. It wasn't just about getting her pool back, it was about setting a precedent. And the best part? The entire neighborhood had learned a valuable lesson. Respect isn't given, it's earned, and sometimes you have to enforce it.